Hey everyone, Janice here, Caribbean Garden Life, and I realised that it's been an awful long time since we did a garden update. I think the last was in May, and as you know, in the gardening world a lot can happen in 5 months. So I'm going to take you on a walk around the garden, show you what's happening, what we've done, the improvements we've made, some of the successes and some of the failures. Come with me. So one of the goals this year was to grow as much food as possible. We've all seen the high cost of living, the price increasing. I know for one that every time I go to the supermarket, prices are going up, especially for vegetables, and we import a lot of things here. So let me just first of all say, if noise in the background, we have construction work happening next to us. So you may hear their dulcet tones every now and then, but let's get back to the garden. So I focused on obviously in bed, as you know, and grow bags. So the first bed here is all beans, black eyed beans, and actually some cassava as well. I put some cassava in there. Cassava takes about probably 9 months to grow, but it's one of a very staple crop. It doesn't need an awful lot of water. It loves the heat, so it'll grow really well. The beans are very good because they're nitrogen fixing for the soil. So I'm already, even though I'm focused on this current season, I'm already focused on what I'm going to be growing next season by using the beans or the peas to add nitrogen to the soil. So in my head, I've already got planning what we're going to do for next season, and that's been probably core this year, is actually sitting down and planning what it is we wanted to grow. I always say start with what you like to eat, but also for us we have to remember the conditions. The reason you probably didn't see an awful lot going on in the past few months, that's been incredibly hot here, so it's difficult to grow things. But as I said, we did have some successes. So now in this bed, as you can see, I planted cassava again. These started as probably little 6-inch stumps, of another cassava plant, and they have gone gangbusters. As I said, take about 9 months. This plant over here, it's got to be a good 9 feet tall, and it's still growing. Now I do have a habit of no space being left without something. So my neighbour gave me some cabbage seedlings, so I have cabbages growing in there. And I also plan this year to grow garlic. So I've started prepping the bed for garlic, and you'll see a video on that. I'll take you through that process once I've completed it. As I said, being in a dry country, water is a huge issue. So we rainwater harvest a lot. So I've got a new tank which I'm in the process of setting up. The other one is great, it's full, but this new tank is going to be my runoff, because there's nothing worse than seeing liquid gold, what I call it, going to waste. So that will be another supplementary tank for the garden. Now, if you've been following us very closely, you would know that we made raised beds. We made the raised beds because I actually have some back issues, so I'm future-proofing myself. At the moment, they're not being fully used, but we do have bok choy. I am trying my most to grow onions this year, and I'm not doing too well. So if you have any tips on how I grow onions from seed right now, I would love to hear it. But the 2 boxes, this will be like my salads, my bok choy, some of my leafy greens, my onions. And the other bed is also going to have salads and more leafy greens and onions. So these things that I can keep off the ground, that are easily accessible, I can use all the time. So as you can see, I am growing a plethora of tomatoes. Last season we had a really bad season. We've got very few tomatoes last year. And I think that's because they had some Fusarium wilt. So I took the time to actually solarize the soil to sterilize it. And again, I did another video on that, so I'll drop that link below on solarizing the soil. So because I want to use it again, we can't afford to keep on buying bags of soil each year, so we have to solarize it. So we do have tomatoes, we have brandywine, we have beefsteak, we have red currant, we have golden jubilee, we have a local tomato. Again, my neighbour gave me some seedlings, and they're growing really, really well. My only challenge right now is they're flowering, but they're not fruiting. So that would be the thing I'm working on. But speaking to another fellow gardener, he was having the same issue. So I don't know if it's because of the heat, but now it's getting cooler. We're coming into our cooler months. I'm hoping, quietly optimistic, that we'll start seeing some tomatoes. I do have a couple of in-ground beds, as you can see. Again, this year I converted some of the ground again to in-ground beds. I have sweet potatoes, I have broccolis, I have Swiss chard. Now you'll see some of my Swiss chard. You can see here. Let's put this netting. I had netting over, but it's still not enough. The Swiss chard has been ravaged by like the cabbage white. There's pretty little butterflies you see buzzing around, but their offspring, their larvae, do a lot of damage. So I've been tending to that with some Bt, trying to stay as organic as possible. But again, if it's a toss-up between me, the vegetables and the pests, we all know who's going to lose out. So we have some more cabbage. We have broccoli, as I said. I just want to show you one thing as well. The one thing I did do this year, what went wrong, is that I didn't test spraying some of my seedlings with some of the insecticide. And it was too strong for some of the baby seedlings, and I lost a couple. So a tip is always to really test it out, and don't use it on young seedlings if you can help it, or if you're going to use a very diluted solution. So what else is happening in the garden? Well, we have my okra patch, which I'm going to plant in more okra, but these plants have supplied us with okra all season. They've been going really well. As you can see, a couple more for picking. Every day I get a couple to pick. So I'll be looking at growing some more plants well suited to the weather out here in the climate. We also have Malabar spinach. We have the Malabar spinach that is grown across the fence. Again, it really likes the fence. It likes the location, so I have to keep continuously picking. As you can see, we also have the shade cloth. I'd cut down the mango tree that was here before, that blocked out all the light, and put shade cloth up, and this has really helped this season. So if you get the chance, if you're in a hot area, you have an issue with sun and heat, I'm definitely recommending shade cloth to help protect. This is just 40%. So it only blocks out 40% of the light, which is doing really well. Okay. So the last part really, I suppose, is the main grow bag section. Yes, I know all the tomatoes in grow bags, but I also grow other vegetables in grow bags. My ginger is doing really well, and I can see it's probably going to flower. This looks like it's going to be a ginger flower. I'm going to get a couple by the look of it, and they're really pretty. So when the ginger flowers, I'll definitely put a quick post up about that. We have a couple different types of eggplant. This is your normal standard purple eggplant, and this will be the variegated. This one over here will be the variegated eggplant. Lots of onion chives. I have lots of smelling herbs, because the smelling herbs actually deter some of the critters, some of the insects. So you'll see lots of different types of basil dotted around everywhere. Lots of herbs, lots of thyme. You'll see them you'll see it everywhere. So peppers, along with my peppers. These are old pepper plants, but they're still producing, so I'll be cutting these back at the end of the season. We have some more Swiss chard. Trying my hand at mustard greens. I know a little bok choy seed crept in there, but you don't want to leave. It's a volunteer, you don't want to give it away. So I'll give that a little bit, a couple more weeks or so, and I'll pick that. More peppers, and this will be my sweet potato patch. I'll grow all my sweet potatoes in bags. I had a better harvest, a much better harvest this year growing in bags, but all I realised is that I need to have more stems. I could afford to have more stems per bag. So this won't be till next year now, but this will be the sweet potato patch, or the sweet potato bags, and they will give me a really good harvest. So I think that's it for the garden update. bye.